Ukraine's drone ATACMS trap destroys $2 billion S-400 shield near Kupiansk. Today, a single, carefully sequenced operation altered the balance of air power in northeastern Ukraine. In approximately 13 minutes, a Russian air defense grouping assessed at nearly $2 billion was rendered combat ineffective. Not through overwhelming force, but through timing, coordination, and exploitation of predictable reactions. What unfolded was not a chaotic exchange of fire, but a methodical collapse of layered defenses. Short-range systems were neutralized first, long-range radars were forced to reveal themselves, and launchers were destroyed at the precise moment they were most vulnerable. To understand how this outcome became inevitable, the sequence must be followed carefully, step by step, from the opening minutes that set the trap in motion. At 2:14 a.m., inside a Russian Air Defense Command vehicle positioned near Kupiansk, a battalion commander leaned toward his radio and confirmed what appeared to be a successful interception. Operators reported that a ballistic target had been destroyed at altitude. Radar screens showed no immediate inbound threats. To the commander, this reinforced confidence in the protective umbrella provided by what Russian doctrine describes as a long-range, roughly 400-kilometer coverage zone anchored by S-400 systems. After more than an hour of sustained alert, tension inside the vehicle briefly eased. Ukrainian forces used layered drone positioning to maintain continuous, low-transmission observation of the site, holding overwatch for roughly 90 minutes before the strike window opened. A primary strike force of 48 FPV attack drones waited nearby, inactive to conserve power, set to strike decisively during a narrow vulnerability window. Freezing temperatures and a dense winter fog impacted both sides' operations. Russian commanders saw the fog as reducing visual detection during deployment and hindering drone use. Ukrainian planners viewed the fog as concealment for positioning and a way to reduce the early visual detection of descending drones. While not blinding sensors, the weather significantly compressed reaction time upon contact. Moments after the interception report, subtle changes became noticeable around the command vehicle. A faint electrical buzzing blended into the background noise of radios and generators. It did not trigger an immediate alarm. Within the next 80 seconds, however, much of what the commander believed to be a secure, layered air defense position would be burning or disabled. To understand why, the sequence must be rolled back to decisions made minutes earlier. By 2 a.m., the Russian command had already committed to a high-risk redeployment. Over the preceding weeks, Ukrainian long-range strikes had systematically targeted Russian air defense components across the sector. Radar vehicles, short-range interceptor systems, command posts, reload vehicles, and supporting equipment had been hit in a pattern designed to erode layered protection. Each loss reduced redundancy and forced remaining systems to cover wider sectors with fewer assets. Russian leadership concluded that the gap could not be patched incrementally. It had to be sealed quickly and decisively. 4 S-400 battalions deployed covertly, 35 miles from the front line, in a concentrated, high-risk forward cluster. This rapid air denial move prioritized speed over safety to deter Ukrainian aircraft and missiles before they could organize a counterstrike. Ukrainian analysts later assessed the value of this forward-deployed grouping at nearly $2 billion in total. In practical terms, this was often described as 4 battalion sets, valued at approximately $500 million each, accounting for launchers, interceptors, engagement radars, command vehicles, and support assets grouped at the site. The objective was to extend air denial coverage close to 250 miles, making Ukrainian aviation operations costly and uncertain during the winter period. At 2:14 a.m. and 30 seconds, the first strike began. Not from above, but from range. Across the Siversky sector, dispersed over roughly 50 miles of snow-covered woodland, Ukrainian fire control systems synchronized. 4 HIMARS launchers and 2 M-270 multiple launch rocket systems executed a coordinated time-on-target strike. The concept was simple. rockets fired from different locations and trajectories would arrive almost simultaneously, compressing decision time and saturating local defenses. Ukrainian forces initially targeted the S-400's inner guard, specifically the Pantsir S-1 air defense vehicles. 24 M30 A1 GMLRS rockets arrived almost simultaneously. Pantsir crews detected the threat, but the dense, synchronized attack overwhelmed them, forcing an impossible engagement choice and leading to losses. Airburst rockets detonated at approximately 30 feet, dispersing dense tungsten fragments. This caused widespread damage to short-range air defense components, shredding radar, blinding sensors, severing cables, and perforating exposed assemblies. Within a minute, 9 of the 12 Pantsir systems were disabled or destroyed, compromising the inner shield of the S-400. Inside the S-400 command vehicles, the consequences were immediate. Short-range coverage degraded sharply, and the formation's ability to defeat small, fast threats at low altitude collapsed. With incomplete information and growing uncertainty, the senior commander made a decision that was tactically understandable, but operationally dangerous. He ordered that the S-400 batteries to fully activate their engagement radars and prepare to meet whatever came next. The large 92 N6E Gravestone engagement radars powered up, restoring long-range tracking and producing unmistakable electronic signatures. At the same time, heat and exhaust from vehicle activity and the earlier rocket salvo disturbed the fog layer in localized columns, briefly thinning it. These momentary breaks did not clear the sky, but they were enough for Ukrainian operators overhead to confirm the positions of launch vehicles. And more importantly, to observe the opening cycles of launch tubes. Phase 2 began immediately. From deeper Ukrainian-controlled territory, a volley of 14 MGM-140 ATACMS ballistic missiles was launched. These missiles were not intended to slip through unnoticed. Their role was to force the S-400 into a high-tempo engagement cycle, consuming interceptors and triggering the mechanical sequence that exposes missiles on the ground during reload and ready stages. Russian command vehicles detected incoming ballistic trajectories, prompting crews to prepare interceptors. 24-48 N6E3 interceptor missiles launched and accelerated supersonically. Intercepts occurred above the clouds via proximity detonations and fragmentation to destroy the incoming missiles. In this exchange, 11 of the incoming ATACMS missiles were destroyed in flight. Debris fell from high altitude. Operators reported successful engagements, and confidence briefly returned. From the Russian perspective, the system had performed as designed. What was not apparent was that this apparent success had triggered the next vulnerability Ukraine was waiting for. As the S-400 batteries cycled to prepare additional shots, several launcher covers opened again, and missiles sat ready in exposed positions for a brief interval. The exposure window lasted roughly 3 seconds, but it was enough. Ukrainian drone operators confirmed the openings through thinning fog columns and clearer silhouettes created by heat and smoke. Motors surged from low-power standby to full output. The FPV drones did not waste time maneuvering. They entered direct gravity-assisted dives toward open tubes and exposed missile noses. On the ground, Russian crews were still reacting to the interception report when the sound became unmistakable. A sharp, high-pitched buzzing cutting through the night. Personnel looked upward as dark shapes emerged from the fog breaks. 9 drones struck first. Some entered open launch tubes. Others impacted directly adjacent to exposed missiles and launcher mouths. Their shaped charge warheads detonated into the most sensitive area. Loaded interceptors containing propellant and warhead components stored in tight spacing. The result was a chain of sympathetic detonations. Dozens of loaded interceptors cooked off in near-simultaneous blasts, and multiple launch vehicles failed catastrophically within seconds. Several launcher vehicles were destroyed outright within seconds. Nearby equipment was damaged by overpressure and fragmentation. Communications degraded as antennas and cables were severed. The forward firing position, built to project air denial, was suddenly struggling for basic continuity. In that first drone wave alone, a major portion of the forward deployed capability within the overall $2 billion grouping was eliminated. Amid the confusion, surviving personnel attempted to regain control. A secondary commander, assuming additional missile strikes were imminent, ordered remaining launchers to fire interceptors immediately, rather than risk losing them on the ground. The logic was emotional, but understandable. If another strike was coming, empty the tubes first. Hydraulic systems raised the last operational launchers, and covers opened again. That order recreated the same vulnerability window. 6 Ukrainian FPV drones, deliberately held back to exploit this predictable reaction, initiated their dives. Adjusting for smoke, heat, and turbulence rising from burning wreckage, they struck exposed missiles moments before launch sequences could complete. 6 distinct detonations followed in rapid succession. Within seconds, no operational S-400 launchers remained in the forward cluster. With launch capability neutralized, Phase 3 followed. From Ukrainian positions, the follow-on ATACMS volley arrived, 16 missiles entering terminal phase without opposition. With interceptors depleted and the Pantsir layer destroyed, there was no effective mechanism left to contest the incoming tracks. These missiles were not aimed at launchers already burning. Their targets were the command and control nodes and the 92 N6E engagement radars that served as the system's eyes and brain. 4 radar vehicles were struck directly. The impacts destroyed radar arrays and supporting electronics, eliminating the formation's ability to detect, track, or coordinate air defense in that sector. Any remaining vehicles still intact were now isolated, unable to function as part of a network. What remained of the Russian unit attempted to withdraw. Reload trucks, fuel vehicles, and command transports dispersed across frozen terrain toward nearby roads. 10 Ukrainian FPV drones, reassigned from the remaining operational pool, pursued the retreat. They focused on the slowest and most valuable support targets. A fuel tanker detonated after impact. Command vehicles were forced off their routes. The withdrawal fragmented into scattered movement, more flight than maneuver. The final action came moments later. 2 reserve ATACMS missiles struck an ammunition storage site roughly 3 kilometers away, where reload interceptors had been staged. Secondary explosions followed, sending fire and debris into the air and spreading shock effects across the surrounding area. By the time the detonations subsided, organized resistance at the site had ended. In approximately 13 minutes, the forward-deployed elements of 4 S-400 battalions, along with their protective and support vehicles, had been rendered combat ineffective. The total material loss was assessed at nearly $2 billion, reflecting the combined destruction of launchers, interceptors, radars, command vehicles, and logistics assets. The operational consequences were immediate. With the S-400 denial layer removed, the regional air control picture shifted. For roughly the next 3 weeks, Ukrainian air operations faced fewer long-range threats in that sector, and the risk calculus for strikes on supply routes and command nodes changed. The psychological impact was equally significant. A system regarded as a strategic shield had been forced into a reaction cycle and defeated during its most vulnerable seconds on the ground. Ukraine's cost profile underscored the asymmetry. The operation employed 32 ATACMS missiles and 48 FPV drones, with a combined expenditure estimated at under $50 million, while Russian losses were assessed at nearly $2 billion. The financial imbalance highlighted a broader lesson. Cost and sophistication do not guarantee survivability when timing and coordination are lost. In the aftermath, Russian channels circulated revised procedures emphasizing visual checks for overhead drone threats before missile launches. Whether formalized or passed informally through command channels, the logic was consistent with what the battlefield revealed. The vulnerability was not only in the radar picture, but in the moment a launcher physically opens and exposes its missiles to close-range attack. Today, the wreckage near Kupiansk stands as a case study in modern warfare. Nearly $2 billion in air defense assets were neutralized through a sequence that dismantled short-range protection, forced long-range systems into exposure, and destroyed the radars and logistics that keep a network alive. The wreckage near Kupiansk underscored a modern lesson. Even the most advanced air defense networks can be defeated. when an opponent engineers the few seconds in which launchers are physically exposed and short-range protection has already been stripped away. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more updates.